Hey everybody, what is up? This is Devin, LaVore, and
Michelle LaVore
coming at ya. How come you always laugh at me when I do that?
I don't know.
Because the way I do it, what is up?
Yeah.
And you just always laugh at me when I do that.
I think it's funny.
Well, welcome to our channel. We're having fun already. And we are going to be doing, what are we doing? Act 1, Scene 23 today. I know we've been giving videos every day, and we are going to still keep giving videos every day for the next 7 days.
Yes.
Ooh, man. And, man, God has been up to some stuff if you haven't been able to glean from the videos. But, man, I'm saying, like, glean from the videos in the sense of, like, there's been lots of stuff behind the scenes that we just haven't even shared. Mm-hmm. You know, like, why was Devin so quiet on that last video? It was refreshing, but weird. No, but yeah, so we just pray that God will bless you, as always, through what we share. We believe it's from the heart of God to you, to encourage you and to build you up. Mm-hmm. It's bottom line. And a huge shout out and thank you, as always, to those who support us, because we are support-based family on what we do. And if you would like to support us and give to us, we have a PayPal link below, and you can just click that and give as you feel led. And again, huge thank you to everyone who gives to us. This has been amazing.
Yes.
To just consider that God's been sustaining us this entire time we've been here in Nashville.
Yeah.
If you just sit and just think about it for like 2 minutes, you will have not one complaint. Mm-hmm. Survive the sunlight of that truth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, wow. Yeah, there's things that we don't have and things we're waiting for and all that. But when you just bask in the glow of, like, Lord, you have carried us this whole time. Mm-hmm. Through how you're moving through us this weird way that I didn't even agree with. I was like, I don't want to do that. This is not the Lord. No, this is not the Lord's way. You know, it's funny because so many times, not so much lately, but in times past, people will say, you don't work, you don't eat, and you go through that part of the journey and the story. And that's like, you guys need to hush. I've already been through that before the Lord told me to do the PayPal thing. I was the first one to tell the Lord, you don't work, you don't eat, and Paul was a tent maker, and blah, blah, blah. All those arguments I gave the Lord myself before anyone else commented. You know what I mean? And it's like, nothing's changed. But anyway, no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's just like when you think about, like, no, this is what I'm doing. This is the direction I'm taking you guys. I'm going to show you the ancient way. I'm going to show you my way. I'm going to show you this, and it's going to mess you up. Just like me, and when I took the disciples, I messed them up just by them following me. And it's been like the best mess up ever.
Yeah.
It's like I want to just get messed up all the time with the Lord, if this is what it means to follow the Lord, to have him change us in such a way. And speaking of change, so a while back, I don't know, when did the Lord give me those ancient ruins visions? That was in 2019, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I got these visions that we call the ancient ruins visions. There was like 6 or 7 of them, and they were really amazing. Some of them we've never shared with anybody, because you just can't. But there were 2 particular visions that the Lord gave me, and it was during like a 3-4 day period of time, honestly. I just kept getting them over and over, and I was like, wow, I'm getting like a book series of visions from the Lord here.
Yeah.
And one of the visions was me, and I was in this bathroom, and the setting was like this. You gotta imagine like this old adobe clay structure that had been abandoned a long time ago, and we were literally living in it. Mm-hmm. And it was out in the wilderness, and one of there was a bathroom there. There was a really tight prison cell of a bathroom, and it had just this sink and a mirror and obviously a toilet. But anyway, and so there came this time where I came into the bathroom, and I took off all my, I had this robe, and I kind of took the robe off to where it was like waist high. I just took it off, and I just grabbed the sides of the sink, and I just leaned myself into it. But when I took the robe off, there were like these huge scars on my body, as if someone just like, it was kind of graphic. It was just like huge, as if there was this huge burn that was just put across me. And I didn't realize it until later, but there was this one big, huge burn. And then there was these 3 separate, smaller burns, right? And later on, particularly the past couple weeks, I realized the Lord was showing me like that. And he showed me right away. He was like, that's the burden you're carrying of this journey and the weight that you're carrying of this journey. And I realized like recently that basically that big huge scar represented Michelle and like just the weight I'm carrying for her and you know, a father and a husband carries weight for his family to like, you know, provide and lead and all that. And I'm telling you what, man, being in this position, it is the Lord. That's not a debate. We're not going to debate whether it's the Lord and all of that stuff. It's like, it's clearly the Lord. And even being that it is the Lord, it's still, there's like this weight that was put on that's just like you want the best for your family. And you can feel like being in a situation like this, like you can just, you can fight with a sense of failure and like all the time. Like you're not leading well at all. You know, the enemy will just, you're not leading good at all. Like, oh, look, you're failing your kids. Oh, look, you're failing your wife. See, told you. You know what I mean? You get hit with that kind of stuff all the time. And, you know, I do a pretty good job of deflecting it, but it still is like this weight that you carry, right? And then I realized also that the 3 smaller, but still of significant size, reminds me of rodents of unusual size. Anyway, still of significant size, these other 3 were my kids. And of course Isaiah, he's 3. He's the baby during this whole time. He doesn't count. He's the baby. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Even though he's 3 years old now, he's still just like, whatever, this is how we live, no big deal.
Yeah.
There's no weight for him. And it was just like, and the Lord showed me that like, I'm giving you the ability to feel what they feel, to carry their wounds and their pain, and to really be in tune with it, not be dissociated from it. Because going through something like this, as a leader, as a husband, as a father, you need to know what they're feeling. You have to know. So what I'm saying is the Lord put those scars on me. He did that. It wasn't the enemy. He did it. And he's like, you got to know what they're feeling. If you don't, and you go through what you're going to go through, you guys are going to be torn apart, because it is going to affect everyone. It's going to affect you. And because you don't know what they're feeling, you're going to be super insensitive, and you're just going to, it's going to tear you guys apart. And so God's like, I'm using you as a leader, but also as one of the gluing agents of the family. And how many times have I been like, Lord, I am like messing things up. And he's like, no, stay in position. You're doing amazing. And I'm like, I don't see it. He's like, I don't care. I do. Listen to me. Obey. You know what I mean? And so I'm just like, all right.
So before you move on, I just, like, my heart, just as soon as you talked about just like the Lord placing the wounds on you as a way of like knowing like our heart and the kid's heart, like immediately I think about Jesus and how God placed the scars and the wounds upon him, and it was for our benefit. He's like, here, I'm wounding you. And I don't know, it just makes me like want to cry, because it's like Jesus himself was wounded for our transgressions, and you know, he carries the scars of our sin and everything, but he did it, and he did it because he went through his entire life so that he could have compassion upon us, and really so we could relate to him more than anything. It was like, he's like, see, I've been through what you've been through. I've carried what you carry. And so
I did it for you so that you can identify with me.
Exactly.
So that you see Superman, you're not going to look, that's Superman. Who can relate to Superman?
Yeah.
He's Superman. You know, I'm never going to be no Superman. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, what does he know about dodging bullets? He's bulletproof.
Yeah.
It's like,
so it's just like, just that sense of like, but when you said though, it was the Lord, it was God the Father who put it upon you.
He did.
And it was like, that's exactly what he did with Jesus. He's like, I'm putting these scars literal scars upon you for the sake of my people. And it's like, that's exactly what the Lord did with you. It's like, he's like, I'm putting these scars on you for the sake of your family. And I don't know, it really just touched my heart. Like, as soon as you were...
It's hard to keep it together.
It is. But just that, what really, like, to really just see, like, that's what God our Father did upon Jesus. And it was for our sake. And, so that there is just relationship, and there is, it says that we have a high priest who is acquainted and is familiar with all things that we go through, and therefore how much more can we just come to him with our burdens, come to him with our hearts, because he's like, I have nothing but great compassion for you and tenderness. Same that I was feeling the other day when we were talking about just the remnant of people. There is just a tender heart that God has towards
love
his
is
people.
the foundation.
Yeah. And it was just like, I don't know, just in that moment, that's just what I was really feeling. It was just like, whoa, like, this is exactly what the Father did with Jesus, and it just really touches my heart.
Well, and what was the scars of Jesus for? Our healing.
Yeah.
Right? Bookmark that. Because that's what I felt like a long time ago. The Lord showed me, he's like, I want you to know something. I'm putting that on you. This is not the enemy. This is not your own personal issues.
No.
It's like, no, I'm doing that. And so I got this vision of that, right? Of these scars, and I'm just carrying it, and I'm just like, I can't just, but like Jesus got to this point where he's like, what shall I say then? Father, deliver me from this hour. Mm-hmm. It's like, because it was for this hour that I came into the world. So I can't tell him to deliver me from it, because then what was the point of all this to begin with? And so it's just like, in that vision, I just saw the scars, and I'm just like, ooh. And it's just between me and the Lord, I'm covered up when I'm out there, and people see me, and we're doing our things, but just between me and the Lord in private, I'm just burying myself before him, and I'm just going, whoa, Lord, this is intense. You know what I mean? And then so there was another vision that I got where the Lord showed me the ancient ruins vision. He showed me like me just sitting in this seat in this ancient ruins cafe kind of area, if you can imagine, like the elementary school kid cafeteria seats where there's one long bench and then there's one long table, and there's two long benches on either side. It was kind of like that, but it was made of clay. It was interesting. And I'm just sitting there kind of leaning back, and the Lord's in front of me. He's like, hey, come here, let's take these off. It's almost like if a person has had stitches for a long time and they're all healed up, it's like, all right, let's get those off. It was that kind of setting. I was like, okay. And he it was almost like, what?
It was probably, I was just going to say, it was like it was as if it was that stuff that they use to like put on faces,
Oh, yes, that glue stuff, right?
Yeah.
Or something like prosthetics or whatever. Yeah. And they glue it on. Yeah, it was like that. It was like it had been taped on me, the wound. And so the Lord's like, here, come on, let's take that off. And he just grabbed the two edges of this big wound, and he just was like, he just peeled it off. Like it had been taped on. Like my kid just put a sticker on me, and he just peeled the sticker off, you know what I mean? And I was just like, he peeled it off, and I was like, whoa. And I felt like the whoa of it. And then he went and he peeled off the other ones too, And so it was like, and the Lord gave me, before we started this new 21-day thing that we're doing, he gave me this vision, because I went to the bathroom one time, and the Lord shared some amazing stuff with me, but also he showed me like basically that's what was happening. I guess we were actually already into the 21-day thing, right?
I think it was literally like the second day.
Yeah.
And it was that night, and you were just going in to pray, because you just had this burden on you to go and pray.
It was heavy.
And so you're like, you just went in, so you could be by yourself, just
I literally
praying.
could do nothing else but get up and just go to the bathroom and just pray.
And you literally were actually like leaning.
I was literally leaning on the counter.
And you were reminded of those visions. And then it was like, when you came out, it was like, no, this is what the Lord's going to be doing. He's going to be removing those scars during this time. And then it was like that first week for you, it really was like the removal of the main scar, which represented me, and then this
meaning like I didn't have to carry you
that,
anymore,
yeah.
like I've been, like I've had to, because it's been a had to, not as a shame or anything like that, but it's just like, yes, it's like, but now you're to a place where it's like God's like, you don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah.
It's
like this time and season is finished.
It's almost like, you know, like Little House on the Prairie. You don't need to be Charles Ingalls anymore. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And so, yeah.
Oh, and then this week has been the removal of the other 3.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, and that's what the Lord was sharing with me. Is just like He was taking that off, and that was that first 7 days of this 21-day thing we're doing. And then as we were going into this week that we're talking about right now, it was been the other 3. It's like you don't even have to carry your kids the way it's like you've done literally everything. It's like that thing I was saying before. I was like, man, Sweetie Pea, I know we've gone through a lot of finals and crossovers, but I feel like this is like the final. Yeah. You know what I mean? You go through a lot of finals when you go through school, when you go through college. There's a ton of finals.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But then there's that one time where this is the final. This is it. After this, you graduate and you move on. That's just what it felt like. And of course, I felt that before too, and thinking it's the graduation point, and it wasn't, and whatever. You know, timing is really the Lord's thing, but He also does speak to people about time. But yeah, so then that's what this second week's been on. That's why I didn't really talk that much yesterday in that video, because it was like the last day, and it was like God was just really just going deep in, and I was like, babe, I know I'm supposed to be in the video, and I'll stand with you, but I don't think I might say anything, because that's just where I was at. Yeah. I was like, I don't know that I can, you know. I'm just like, I feel like I'm drugged, and I'm like sitting on I'm in the hospital bed of my heart, just drugged up, and you're asking me questions. I'm going, what? So that's kind of what was going on with me yesterday. But now I'm making up for lost time. So anyway, no, I'm kidding. But yeah, so this is the part I haven't shared with you yet, live and in person. But you know, as far as the kids thing go, I'm like super intensely passionate about my kids. Sometimes to my and their detriment. You know, sometimes I can be too intense. Right? And because I just really, really want them to succeed and do well. And it's just like, but a person like me, I have a hard time just letting them learn. It's like, no, don't do it that way. You got to do it this way. Come on, you got to do it this way all the time. Come on. You know what I mean? And it's just like, well, that doesn't always work like that. You know, it's good to be passionate and intense and just, but you got to also have that. All right, I'm going to let you learn. That's super hard for me. And that's an understatement. Am I right? But I've learned a ton, right? I'm just, and that's one of the things that the Lord was doing. And I'm just like, okay, this is great. So what happens in the 3rd week? Because there were no scars on the, you know, after that. Then the 3rd week, what's that? And so the Lord gave me this vision of me after I'm done. I kind of like had these little, you know, like when you take a Band-Aid off, there's like these little bitty dirty little trace mark of where the Band-Aid was. I could see that on my body, and I was like, oh, I guess I'm gonna go take a shower or whatnot, right? And he was like, no. And I saw myself walking to this bath. It was like an old ancient bath, kind of like a Roman Colosseum, not Colosseum, but you know, some ancient Corinthian bath or something like that. And I'm just walking into it, but it wasn't made of water, it was made of oil. And I'm like, wow, I'm going into the oil again? All right, I'm good, you know? And so when I went to that part, you already knew. But and so I was like, okay, cool. I don't know what that looks like or what that means, but let's just go for it, you know? And so this morning I had like another issue with one of my kids, and it was a very frustrating situation. And again, I felt like I blew it. I handled it wrong. I'm so frustrated with myself and how I deal with it. And so I go to the bathroom. And right away I began to just pray to the Lord. I'm just like, Lord, you know what? Right in that moment I was going to ask the Lord, just forgive me. Just forgive me for everything I ever do wrong. You know, just forgive me. That's where I was going to go. But I got to Lord, just for, that's about as far as I got. And the Lord's like, no, I don't need to forgive you. I need to heal you. See, because a lot of times when you go through like battle or warfare, and you come out the other side, man. As good as the cause was, it's still war, and you can be messed up. You know, if there's any soldiers out there watching this video, they're going, yes, sir, he knows what he's talking about. And I've never fired a gun in my life. Well, a shotgun a couple times, but anyway, never been in a war. You know what I mean? Not in a real physical war, but it's like, and so you have like just a sense of woundedness that comes from that. That's why you got to go to the bath. That's why you got to go to that oil bath to really get all the traces of it off. It's enough to get the big stuff off. But then God's like, I'm not here. You know me, Devin. I'm not a good enough God. I'm not a just enough God. I'm a God. It's like, I'll cleanse you, put you on some fresh clothes, put a fresh turban on you, and then I will say, now, devil, what you got to say? You don't need to defend yourself. I'm the papa. I'll take care of you. You know what I'm saying? And so I just felt like I was getting ready to say, like, Lord, I just forgive me. And it's like, Devin, I don't need to forgive you. I just need to heal you. Because you need healing.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, wow, that's amazing. And so so that's just kind of what this, I think for me, this whole 21 days has actually been about. Which is why you have been stepping up to the plate. Segue. Anyway, into this other ancient ruins vision I had, where during that time I was like, man, Michelle, I just see you. You're like Wonder Woman, you know what I mean? And you're in the armory. I got a vision of you in the armory, and you're strapping on all this armor, and you looked amazing. And you literally looked like Wonder Woman from the movies. And you're like, you strapped it on, you had your sword, and you were like, I don't know what I'm doing, but here we go. You know? And I was like, that's what's happening to you, like right now. During this 21 days, that's you. The Lord is literally fulfilling those visions for us in this ancient ruins thing, which is super exciting, because if he's fulfilling those visions, and another one of the visions has been happening the whole time anyway, you know, but it's like he's literally fulfilling those visions. I could just run around the hotel room right now, because it's like, that means he's going to fulfill the other ones too. And some of those other visions were like, oh my gosh, I can't wait. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, it was amazing, some of the stuff he shared. And it's like, this is what needs to happen first. You know? And this is not the order that I got the visions in. No. Actually. It's completely out of order. See, God knows the order, the time, the sequence, the events, everything. But yeah, so did you want to talk about that?
So for me personally,
don't think I'm done. don't even think that. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but for me personally, that it really has been a time of basically strapping on the armor, kind of really coming into a place where it's like, okay, no, like I can do this too. I feel like most of the time I don't know what I'm doing, but it's like, all right, Lord, I'm going to step up. You know, you're calling me into coming forth in this time, and so I'm going to do that. I'm just going to keep going and rise up. And so that's what God's been doing for me personally. And it's been a lot of just like even little things, just a growing in confidence in my ability to just hearing him and really fine-tuning. I feel like, especially over this last week, there's been a lot of, you know, I think almost like that tightening up the belt and like just the really putting things in place as far as the armor, because you know, it's like God just brought up things where he's like, okay, I want you to have freedom in this area. Like, don't keep going the same way you always go, or hey, just make note. Even today.
There was a freedom moment.
But it's like, you know, or just how I process things. It's like this reminder, like refresher of like, you don't have to process things that way anymore. You know, let's become free over these things. But also in that rising up to saying, all right, I'm going to be sharing with you. Here, you're going to be sharing these things. And it's like, this, he really has given the 21 days into, as far as the videos, into like my hands. Basically, he's like, you're the leader on this, so you know, you're kind of directing the movie, the movie, and you know, I'm gonna give you.
I'm just really assistant director.
Yeah, and But in the sense, like, yes, he's put me in the place of director, but it's still, he is the ultimate director, because it's me learning really again, like, okay, I'm hearing from you, and being confident that, okay, this is the direction that the Lord wants to go. And so it's just been a really awesome, like, last couple of weeks. And
yes, because you've come forward and I've come way back.
Yeah.
And you've come way forward.
Yeah.
You know, it's both of them have been very needed for our benefit and for our health and our healing and everything.
Well, and I just think it's so funny because for you, God's removing something, but for me, it's a putting on. And I feel like we're always in the place of the opposites, like
literally, with anything and everything.
It's like, but then at the same time, it's like
awesome.
Our hearts are so similar. It's like there's so many things that are similar about us,
heart-wise,
but they come out in just opposite ways. And God,
personality-wise.
Everything. So it's like, here, you're putting things on, but I'm removing things from Devin. And so that's just kind of been the place that we're in. And
even in that, you can just see God's sense of humor.
Yeah.
You know?
And so it was kind of cool, though, too, because when you shared the other day about going into the bath, and I knew, like, and I know I told you too, but just like when you started talking about it, immediately I was getting that vision. I was remembered of like the pool of
Bethesda or Siloam or something
Siloam,
like that.
where they would go to be healed. Like there's like an angel would stir the water and people would go and they would be healed. And I just really felt like going into the bath, it was going to be healing, and which of course then matches exactly what the Lord was sharing today, of just like, no, I need to heal you. And that's really what the oil is representative of. And but I just know when you were sharing about going into the pool for this week, and that's really kind of something that the Lord is doing this week, I was just like, okay, so Lord, what is it for me? Like, what are you doing? Because I really feel that it was like, okay, that we've been seeing this a lot. There's been for like this pairing and then something single, and it all has to do, like, it's a full like 21 days. So we have 3 weeks, right? But I feel like the first 2 weeks were kind of paired together.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
It's the removing of the scars, and it took the 2 weeks to do that. But then there's this third week, but it has something different. It's the healing.
Well, it's like the love God, love one another. That's the 2.
Yeah.
But then it drives out the darkness. That's the 3, and it's slightly different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so we've
gotten a lot of those.
A lot of those lately, especially lately, that it's been kind of this 2 things are kind of paired together, and then there's this third. And so I was just like, okay, Lord, what is it for me, like, this week that I'm going into? Because, you know, I kind of wanted to know, like, what do you have for me? And so, like, right now, I just, like, well, not right in this second, but when I asked the question, but thus far,
this is technical. Not in this exact moment.
But I just really I was feeling that the Lord was saying, like, it has to do with the feet being shod, and so this sense of just like He's going to be shodding my feet with really the readiness to go. And because I think it's like, okay, you've put on all the armor.
Girl, putting on some shoes.
I'm going to put on some awesome shoes. For those of y'all
who don't know what shod means, and you're not from 16th century England, it means putting something on the feet.
Yes.
There you go.
But it's in readiness. And I really feel like God's like, again, all of the things that the Lord is doing is preparation. He's preparing us to go into what comes after the birth of promises. And
so you've been doing all this barefoot?
I have.
I can't wait to see them boots. Boots were made for walking.
No, but I mean, really, like, when you think you're putting on shoes, you're ready to go.
Yeah.
There is a sense of getting ready to move with the Spirit of the Lord. And so
that's true. We got everything on right now but our shoes. Well, of course, I got socks. You don't do socks. Even in that, we're opposite.
I know.
I am always wearing socks. She's always barefoot.
Yeah.
Here, hold up your foot. No, I'm just kidding.
I can't go that high.
Just say it. We need to work out. We're so stiff and not muscular.
Yeah. But
let there be a divine reversing there, Father.
but yeah, and so I don't know the fullness of what God's going to be doing, but again, I think, bringing the healing, having your feet covered by the Lord, and I really believe it. It says that there's you're shod in readiness with the gospel of peace, and
Ephesians 6?
Even the Isaiah, that's Ephesians 6:15, and then there's Isaiah 52:7, where it's talking about how beautiful are the feet of those who bring the good news, the gospel of peace.
Well, and it also talks about the women who publish it on the mountain. It's like they're a great host. It's the same idea.
Yeah. And
on the mountain.
We're on the mountain. So I really am interested to see how the Lord continues to just bring that out and what he's doing. But I just believe that all of it really is the readiness to go into the new season, go into the newness that the Lord has when he does birth the promises. And this is, today is day 1 of week 39. So, we're getting really close to that time. And so it's really actually been very awesome to see how God is just moving. I love how God is he really is so precise in everything that he does.
Well, so what is Act 1, Scene 23 been about? Really, honestly, we've been telling you about it the whole week.
Yeah.
We would have to retell a lot of the stuff that we've already told in our videos, and we felt like this was the most important thing to say, because this is really kind of the capstone right now of those first 2 weeks. It's like, this is what it's been about. Week 38, the number 38 has to do with work, and we have definitely seen the work of the Lord, but that's kind of like what we're telling you about right now, is the work of the Lord and how he's worked in our hearts. And literally, we've been working around here, just like gathering stuff up and organizing things, cleaning things, and stuff like that.
It kind of feels like spring cleaning,
That's literally what we've been doing.
It's like, all right, let's
it's just
go through.
Because we live in these hotel rooms, so we got to take care of them. It's not, we don't leave it up to the maids to come in and just, we don't want to mess with our stuff anyway. But we could tell you stuff like that, but the meat of what we had to say is like right here.
Yeah.
In this, everything we're telling you about the work that God's doing in the heart, and how he's pulled me back and pushed you forward and all that, and we could see it in our kids too. In our 7-year-old. This whole week has been a week of just God wrestling with him, and just and then last night he ended the Saturday night with, he just got up and he was doing like his praise, and I was just like, wow, what a way to end such a hard week for him. You could just tell he was just going through stuff, and it was just like, wow, that is the Lord working in his heart, and he's allowing it. Wow, he's only 7. And it's like, this is amazing. And he ended it with a praise, and just and he's coming to this day, and he's totally different because it's a new day. It's a new week, it's a new thing. You can clearly see, wow, God's doing something totally different now. And it's just like, it's amazing to see how God works through our hearts and the purpose.
So that's really what we have to share with you guys today.
Hope you enjoyed that bit of the story.
I hope that you guys were blessed, and
and Act 2 is coming. Let's just throw that out there. Can we throw that on the Barbie?
It is coming soon.
Act 2 is coming, man. The Lord's been speaking to us about Act 2 for the past 2 weeks. But we haven't got super excited about it, and we start looking out the window every 2 seconds.
No.
We limit it to about 10 seconds. We're that grown up. But it's like, we've just been hearing it Act 2. I'm like, oh, okay, good. Oh, wow, okay, cool. You know what I mean? I would imagine after the birth, I think that's when Act 2 begins. But that's just my own personal. We're not going to go there. We're just going to give you a little, notification bell, ding, that's something that's coming. The Lord's been speaking about Act 2.
So there's that, and a little addendum. And we just pray that you guys are blessed, and just know that God, he continually works on our hearts. He's preparing us for what he's getting ready to do. And
we're gonna be ready.
We are.
If you listen and obey, you're gonna be ready.
So until tomorrow, guys, we will see you later.
Love you guys.
Bye.